Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Mark Doxey, The Plain Truth, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Hello, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, one and all.
Mark Doxey is joined by his daughter.
Mark Doxey's got a noisier kid than me today, which is good news. Right, any signs of curvature, gentlemen?
Nope.
Signs, though, the signs.
Nope, no curvature.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Oh, I don't know about that one.
Nope.
No, there is no there's no scientific proof of it anyway.
Right, distance to the sun. Any evidence of that?
Oh, when it's 2 against 2 at the moment, let's stick to our guns, eh?
Is there a plot in the mix here?
But I do admit, according to the scientific method, it is technically unprovable, and that is fine. But yeah, it all depends on how much weight you have when it comes to making decisions on a certain type of method in a certain form.
Carry on, Nathan, to the next question.
Yeah, fine by me. No scientific evidence of gravity. Good. So, any evidence of the distance to the sun?
There is none. There is no distance to the sun. The sun is not an object. The sun is an optical phenomena. The only thing we can do is deduce angular relations in relation to the position of the Earth and observe its glory of the heavens.
Go on,
So,
Travis.
no, there is no distance.
I heard you mutter something. No? Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
0.
Nope.
Only of the ether-based variety.
Say again, Owen?
Of the ether-based variety.
Not axial
Almost.
rotation. Rotation, yes.
Ether, Earth, very close actually.
Okay, I'll take that as a no.
Right.
What about evidence of gas pressure without a container? Any evidence of that?
Nope.
Never. Something that can only be imagined, it's not something that can be demonstrated, it's not something that can be modeled. Yep, I'm saying it. You can only picture it, you can imagine it, but if you actually theorize it or model it, it's always going to break immediately. So, absolutely. Not even in theory.
You can make it in CGI. Dead easy.
Yeah, but it's what I said. You can make a picture of it, but if you actually model it with the real elements, then it's not going to work out. It's always going to break up. Well, you don't have to trust me, but I believe they probably did try to do that to see if there was something they could do to actually make it work. But they had to probably draw certain elements so much out of proportion that they thought, yeah, let's just go with the double think. That's probably easier. I think that's really how that happened.
What about evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? Any evidence of that?
No, 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 no.
Nope.
Just the books, just the pictures again.
Pictures,
Just the pretty drawings.
paintings. There's no pictures. It's only paintings.
Hey, my bad. Paintings.
It's
are
all
what
it's
I'm
all
for.
handmade. All these depictions because there are no real pictures of it. So it's gonna be painted, hand painted, in the old days, or it's gonna be CGI'd. There is no pictures. You can't take photographs of it.
Surely somebody's taken a big slice out of the earth and taken a picture of the molten iron core. No?
Yeah.
What about a giant endoscope? No. Poke it into the centre? No.
Well,
What
you
about
could do
evidence
it.
the-
You could do it with the drill hole, but yeah, when are you gonna reach that molten iron core? That's the question, isn't it? It's gonna take a long time.
Yeah, what is it we've gone down? 12k? That's the biggest so far.
Well, and a lot of drill bits because the deeper you go, the worse the pressure becomes, and even the titanium drill tips will just start to break more rapidly. It's going to be very expensive. So yeah.
Last but not least then, any evidence of the R value? Earth radius.
Oh,
Nope.
0.
Fair
it's
enough.
only presuppositional evidence.
So it seems like in the flat Earth side of this debate, we've now got a couple of camps. We've got Arwinian gravity and Warrionian gravity, or the lack thereof.
Darwinian sounds too much like Darwinian.
Let's
So,
just
yeah.
forget about Darwin and let's think about Arwen. Why don't you-
I have a very noisy tail here. She's got some new tap dancing shoes.
Oh, it sounded like she clapped for me actually.
Oh, she clapped for you.
He was
She did it
clapping
right
back.
when I said that.
When I said lack thereof, I think it was. That's probably what it was.
Hang on.
Noisy shoes, so you gotta make noise. Anyway,
So
where were
have
we?
you-
Oh yeah,
have you-
I have potentially a new housekeeping addition.
Go on.
Any signs of IPS?
IPS is definitely around. He's gone off YouTube. So
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this might sound silly to you, so don't hold too much weight. But yesterday we had a very long late night hangout on Dan Winfield, and Adam Meakin was there, and a Baller even was there. It was crazy. P. Mars was there, and Rasta too. But yeah, rumors came up that apparently IPS supposedly has been shot to death.
oh yeah, whatever.
Is this the penguin guy? IPS.
Penguin guy. Yeah, that's him.
Well, people haven't heard from him in a while.
Then he
So-
must be dead.
Any confirmation of contact with IPS fresh would be nice. Let's hope this is just a silly rumor,
It is.
because I wouldn't want anyone to get killed.
I'm almost certain it's just a silly rumor.
Not burned to the stake.
Just saying, this kind of shit can happen, even as an accident. So I don't know.
Maybe. I don't see
Anyone
anything.
traces any sign of IPS? Please tell us about it.
Maybe we can get some word from the rather limited chat. I've started a bit early today, so not a massive audience at the moment. I'm sure it'll pick up. Any signs of IPS? Those of you who are in the chat at the moment? Just under 100 of you. Richard Lynch. I'm so sick of these lying assholes. Who are you referring to? Hopefully not us. If so, sod off.
It's not like I'm saying, oh, this happened. No, it was told to me as a rumor, and I take it as a rumor, but still I'm curious, And it should be very easy to confirm it's not true by having recent contact, of course. So it should be easy to follow through on. So if anybody has any recent contacts, has had any recent chat or preferably even verbal contact with IPS, then please let us know.
What about ODD? He's very, very quiet these days, isn't he?
See?
ODD TV.
Yeah, it's ODD reality now. But I don't know. I thought he was still putting out videos.
Is he still active? I've not seen him for a bit.
It could just be that you've just, fallen out of touch with watching his stuff. I bet. Yeah, I could look it up now and see how ODD's getting on. Slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena, or what is it? What's he called now? Let's just get it right. Legendary super looming perspective hijacking hyena says Flat Earth Reset hired some penguin hitman. Don't know how reliable that is.
But to shoot himself.
Let's see. I'm on his channel now. Oh yeah, right. 2 months ago, his last video he put out. Maybe he's dead too. That was sarcasm, by the way.
The CIA have got him and shut him down.
No. Probably haven't.
It'll be you next, Nathan, when you hit that 10,000 subscribers.
You reckon? So suddenly I'll go AWOL. Where's he gone?
Thank God for that.
Yeah, it's just it's a YouTube thing. When people disappear for more than a week, well, they've obviously disappeared without a trace. They've vanished off the face of the earth. They disappear for 2 weeks, suspected dead. Disappear for 2 months, definitely dead.
And 3 months, it's the CIA.
Yeah, exactly. 3 months with no word. Well, yeah, they're probably being tortured somewhere. Obviously, they'd let their audience know where they are after a 2-month hiatus.
A mysterious motor accident.
Private jet. ODD's very popular. Rock and roll lifestyle.
I like his content. He's very good. There's a bit of a personality quote with him, but it's still, we've all got that.
He knows how to make a good, interesting, gripping video.
He does. I like his stuff.
Mm-hmm. And his rap is good too.
Aye. So did you
I actually talked to somebody about Flat Earth today, in person. It's cool.
Tell us more.
It was an older man, I think like 50 or something, maybe 60.
A young man.
And he was, by the way, blind. It was very funny about it. Or he had super bad sight. And he was very well spoken. And he was a musician, so I had this immediate connection in that sense. Lot to talk about, because I come from a music family as well. And he even was a composer, so yeah, was a great guy. And I even checked him out, what do you think about conspiracies? And I just gave examples, all of them basically, and even Flat Earth, and he didn't really flinch. So it's okay. So I actually started just saying, I deal with Flat Earth and cosmogony, and I do debates every day. And he basically hadn't really thought about it. And when I started describing society and how deception works and how people naturally would prefer to be deceived than deal with very complicated things, and how it's abused through programming, and he all got that. That guy knows his sociology. So he was kind of, he didn't really want to say yes, I'm a flat earther now, but he was kind of saying, that's could be true. It's very hard for him to confirm being blind and all. So it's just look through to the picture of the P900 and you can see long distance. It's not going to work.
Yes, that's true. All the evidence is pretty visual based.
But he did consider it. He did think it was reasonable. So that was cool. It was a very cool conversation.
Excellent. Yeah. Nice to know you've chatted to someone that didn't immediately meet the idea with total ridicule.
Mm-hmm. But that's why I like to name it in a sequence of conspiracies and then just see if there is an immediate oh no, oh that. because then you know, okay, they are gonna have resistance. Naturally, you're gonna have to deal with that. But he didn't like really flinch at all. It was all the same to him. So that was good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jimbo's in the chat.
One day I'll have a P900 and I'll actually be recording it while I'm doing it, so you can see it. But
Chat, Jimbo in the chat.
Hey guys.
Hey P.
Hello. So subscribe to my channel, and I actually can then eventually get that P900 and do some, well, I guess you could call it street interview on the spur, flat Earth related live talks with new people. I can do that.
Really triggers the flat Earth commenters. After these streams finish, obviously there's comments that open up below the video. Sometimes while it's going, I don't really understand that bit, but there we go. And for some reason, we can have all sorts of globers on. So, for instance, Rumpus will come on, and people will criticise what he said. Sometimes how he says what he says, but mostly it's the content of the words that have come out of his mouth that get criticised. Whereas P. Mars will come on, and he somehow generates sort of vitriol from flat earthers about him personally. Why are you having P. Mars on? He is blah 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 blah. My answer's always the same. All are welcome. P. Mars is just, he's part of that group. All. You know what I mean?
So I talked to Antonio Subrats, the guy who raped Patricia Steer.
No need.
He was on too, I forgot.
No, that's just going to get you kicked fast. You know it.
We talked for 3 hours about gyroscopes, and like, he explained that gyroscopes prove that the Earth is a sphere to me.
That because you were was too late for you. You were over bedtime, so you're not making a lot of sense.
Like, there's gyroscopes in airplanes to make the artificial horizon, and they have a self-correcting mechanism to account for the curvature of the Earth.
No, they don't. No.
Yeah, they do.
Pendulous vanes to correct for sudden abrupt turns, which exerts a slight force on the entire mechanism, and that disrupts its orbit, its rotation. That's what the pendulous vanes are for. It's not to auto-correct a stable straight line flight or a curved straight flight, whatever you want to see it. It doesn't do that. It's specifically designed to auto-correct sudden abrupt turns.
Oh, I got a link to a pilot that disagrees with you, and he's
we got the design specs.
Wolfie.
Hang on. P. Mars, what do you observe and what do you conclude?
What are you talking about? That doesn't make this a nonsensical question.
You're quoting other people's opinion. What do you observe and what's your conclusion?
That the Earth is a sphere.
And you observe that, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Can you give us a reference to that observation without quoting anybody else? What your personal observation is?
I mean, I could.
Go on then.
I posed this to him yesterday, Mark, so, you know.
So also in the inertial navigation systems, they have a thing called Schuler tuning. And
this is not P-Mal, come on. What do you observe? Rather than quoting other people, what do you observe and what's your conclusion? It's so easy to
I can see the curve of the Earth, so I think the Earth is a sphere.
Excellent. Show it.
So
that's lovely.
Can you expand on that?
No.
But
so
you're going to quote other people about it then?
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Well, it's not my personal opinion. It's not what I observed. They could be lying.
Well, yeah. Anyone could be lying.
Yeah, but that's why I asked you for your personal experience, P.
No, that's just anecdotal evidence. It's not really.
Yeah, we're asking for your anecdotal evidence of the world that you observe. We're genuinely interested in your opinion specifically.
I just gave you my opinion.
You haven't supported it. You resorted to other people's opinion.
Just repeat it, P. What's your opinion? What have
I'm
you
not
observed?
here to support my anecdotal evidence. I just want to talk about gyroscopes because I talked to Antonio Subarats about gyroscopes for 3 hours last night, and he explained how they prove that the Earth is a sphere to me.
I don't know who he is. I've no interaction with him. What about you?
I already told you I see the curve, so I think the Earth is a sphere.
And you're satisfied with that? What you observe and what you conclude?
Yeah.
Only
Good
good.
days.
All right, so describe for us your observation. What is it that you see?
I see a curve just like it looks exactly like Soundly's picture.
So
Hi, Alan.
what are the objects that you have in tandem that go into the distance? What are those?
So I can see the trees.
And you're
Hi,
certain
Alan.
that it's not simply the topography that is oscillating. And
Yeah, I'm certain it's not the topography because they're right next to a river, and I live in one of the flattest areas in America, topography-wise.
That's
You
handy.
live in a flat Earth area, but
Yeah.
you observe a curve. I don't get that. That sounds to be contradictory.
Well, it's flat in the sense that the topography is all the same elevation, right? All around the sphere.
Same where I live. Isn't that a coincidence? Maybe the Earth is flat.
I highly doubt it. But so in the gyroscopes, they have an inertial navigation system, and it has something called Schuler tuning, and it's a design principle for that accounts for the curvature of the Earth with the gyroscope.
What factually is a gyroscope, and how does it prove a curve?
It's means rigidity in space.
Wow,
Because
that's a convincing argument.
it proves a curve because they have mechanisms in gyroscopes to account for Earth's
Hold on a
curvature
second,
to
P.
correct the gyroscope.
Can you just get
for
that
Earth's
guy out of the back
curvature.
chat, Arwin, whoever he is?
Alan, can you support him in this?
No. Just before he does, can you just get the back chat, Arwin? Someone's just joined and dropped.
What I'm actually sorry about that. What I'm interested in, Mark, is why you're trying to shut his conversation down and not allowed him to finish the sentence that he actually started 3 times.
No, he's going off on a tangent.
No, he's not. He's trying to explain something.
I was the one who brought up the subject, and then you made me change the subject.
Well, no, he asked
An
you specifically
interesting
for your
tactic, Mark.
No. He asked him for his personal experience.
No, we don't need any backup from you, young man.
You're saying
let the
he's
big
stopping
boys
him from
talk.
talking, and he's asked him for his personal experience, and 3 times he said, "No, P, I'm asking you what you think," and he goes to gyroscopes. I bet you £1 he's never handled a gyroscope in his entire life.
£1?
Yeah, I just learned about this last night from Antonio Subarats.
Have you ever
He
handled one,
explained.
P? Have you ever handled a gyroscope? Be honest.
No, like why would I lie about that?
I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying
I don't have to pretend to have personal experience with the things because I explained that I learned this from Antonio Subarats.
Sure, but that was
he
the
helped me
specific
prove the
question you were
sphere
asked
Earth last night.
But
We
that was
talked
what you were
about
asked.
gyroscopes for 3 hours.
I understand. I don't even disagree. I'm just saying what you were asked for was your personal experience, anecdotal or otherwise, and you just won't give it.
Well, what do you mean? I did give it. I told you my personal experience. I said I see the curve.
Yeah, and then you were asked to elaborate, and you said no.
Well, I don't know how to elaborate on that. I see a curve. What else do I have to say?
Well, no. When you were pressed, you explained that you lived in an area that was all at the same elevation. So
yeah.
So your personal experience is you see the curve. Actually, it's all flat, but you're happy with to say it's a globe. That's what we've got from you personally so far.
Well, it has the topography has the same elevation on a sphere. That's what I mean by flat. There's no change in elevation on the sphere. That's what I mean by when I say it's flat, right?
What are you talking about? If you're on a sphere, it changes in elevation from the place you stand everywhere in all directions, P.
Well, the elevation from the center of the sphere would stay the same.
Sorry, what do you mean from the center of the sphere? I just said from your feet, in every direction, if you're on a sphere, it falls away from you in all directions. Just because you accept somebody saying, because it's flat, it means sphere, that's not what I experience, right? I never experience anything falling away from me. Ever?
You measure elevation from the center of the sphere.
Have you ever measured elevation from the center of a sphere?
No.
So why would you assert such nonsense?
Because that's how topography. That's
You haven't really thought this through, have you?
I mean, you. What?
We're not convinced.
What am I saying is I don't understand. What am I saying that you guys don't understand?
Well,
where am I going wrong here?
That's for your P.
You're appealing to other people's opinions and this gyroscope effect, but what's your personal observation?
Mark, do you trust your doctor's opinion?
Say it again.
Don't you think you should cite sources and
do you trust
citations?
Your doctor's opinion?
My doctor's opinion?
Yes.
Where did the doctor come from? We're talking about whether the Earth's a curve or whether it's flat.
But do you trust other people's opinions?
I don't see what's wrong with trusting other people's opinions.
No,
we're not getting his opinion.
There's nothing wrong with it, but there's also a question of whether they've got it right or not.
Say it once more. We're not getting P's opinion. We're getting his opinion of someone else's opinion.
Who's not? Debate is just let Globers talk.
Say that again, no. Didn't hear that.
I said the new flat Earth debate is just let the Globers talk.
Okay, well let them talk. Let them hang themselves.
Apparently we're guilty. Is P Mars gone?
No. Looks like it.
Arwen just left too. I don't know if we've got somebody sniping.
Yeah, I did say earlier, just check the back chat. I might have to start the hangout again as everyone gets kicked. We'll see. Got no one watching the back door anymore. Yeah, I think we might have a small intermission.
Alan, if somebody's opinion is preposterous, we don't have to depend on it, do we? We can just laugh it off.
That's just your opinion, though. It's just your opinion that it's preposterous.
But if it's a ridiculous opinion...
Says who?
Do you know what a ridiculous opinion would be?
Stop changing the subject. Says who? In this instance.
Well, there's an opinion here that the Earth is a globe. I've asked for a personal backup to that, and all they can do is resort to other people and a gyroscope. Everything's gone quiet. Have we all been kicked?
No, not so far.
Talk to me, Alan.
What's up? I didn't hear anything.
I said talk to me and you said I can't hear anything. You obviously can.
I can't. Everything seems muffled.
Is that your personal opinion?
No,
is that your
that's a fact.
Oh, good man. So personal opinions are a fact. Show me the curve, Alan.
Well, in a few years you'll be able to spend some money with Mr. Elon Musk and see it for yourself.
Oh, come on. Do you think that's a good answer?
Well, I think it's the only thing that will satisfy you guys.
Hello.
Hey, Jimbo.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Armin.
But in the meantime, you're happy. In the meantime, Alan's happy with one day in the future we'll be able to see the curve.
Yeah. What difference does it make whether it's flat or curved to you?
Nothing really. There's bigger issues than that.
We're all wasting our time.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll come on a private chat with me and we'll talk about anarchy.
Good.
Hey, P.
Why don't you find a better way to spend your time if it's a waste of time, Alan?
Yeah, why would you be here if you're wasting your time? It's enough to say
I like to listen
you're
to
wasting your time if you feel that way, but you can't judge that for everyone
Jimbo,
else.
I like to listen to your really dull voice. Sends me to sleep.
Thank you. I just want to use my really dull voice to understand yesterday at the end of the show where John could not answer a simple question and he returned it with basically define mass for me. I asked if
because you're a
mass
crayon
was
muncher.
constant
Hey, Larry.
and whether weight was a variable.
Hey,
Very
Larry.
simple question.
Hey, Larry.
And it got turned around So
Hey,
I'd
Larry,
still
hold
like
on,
to
guys.
have
Hold on,
John
hold on,
address
guys.
the
Hello,
issue, and I'll drop
guys.
if I
I
get
need
a
you to be
second.
quiet when we
shut
get
up.
a new guest.
But I'd like for him
That
to
means
Jimbo.
stop
explain
talking, not
how
talk
math has
indefinitely.
not been
Hello,
defined.
hello.
Thank you.
We've got a new guest. Hello, Larry. How you doing?
Hello.
Good to have you.
Thank you. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are. Thank you for being here. My bad, Jimbo. Just need to say hello. Make sure he's not going to kick everyone out.
Hang on, gentlemen. It's time for Alan's afternoon nap.
Sorry, I slipped off.
It's time for your afternoon nap, Alan.
Put Jimbo on.
Alan, I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Travis. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Not taking any directions from Anthony?
No, he's not whispering in my ear. You used the term a couple shows ago, and you said something like soft tap. Remember using that phrase, soft tap? I think you called Nathan a soft tap. I was wondering what that meant.
Soft tap?
Yeah.
Soft
Like
cap
said,
or soft tap, something.
You don't remember?
No.
Like tack, soft tack.
What's going on?
All right. Just
Where's
curious.
Alwyn?
I'm on Skype.
Right. The audio's terrible today. What's going on?
I don't know. P. Mars just suddenly got sniped, and then I got sniped. I don't know who did it. I thought you did it, maybe, but or the other. There was an icon. I don't know who it was.
What would I snipe anybody?
I don't know, because you're in a fey mood or something, but probably not.
No,
it's just
I
I don't know who did it. I didn't see anyone new joining, so.
Put Jimbo back on.
As soon as you're the master of ceremonies here, I'll start listening.
Come on, Jimbo, you crying
direct star.
Stick it to John, Jimbo. Okay, then. This seems like a terrible show. Shout out to John Watson, Ute, Multi-Tom Tom.
Shout out retracted.
Shout out to Veen.
Shout out retracted.
What about me?
Shout out to David Reed.
What about me, Alan?
Shout out to Nummy Num.
Shout out to JPL and NASA. Shout out retracted.
Shout out to Donald Trump.
Oh dear. Really?
God bless us all.
What the hell, Arwen? All the nice people, Ute and John Watson and all the regular people who tune into almost every show, you retracted every hangout, get to Donald Trump, and you say, bless us all. What's going on?
Bless his soul.
Do you know our wind's right wing?
Bless his soul. Or bless us all, whatever you want to hear.
But for Trump?
Yeah.
But John Watson gets shout out retracted.
I said shout out retracted, yeah.
Okay.
For John Watson.
You not like John Watson? What's wrong with John Watson?
He's a troll.
John Watson? I'll have you know he's a very, very devout fan of this show. Big shout out to John Watson.
Anyway, Nummy, where have you been? In prison?
More or less. Slaving away at the labor camp.
Sticking fingers in the holes?
Working for the tax office. Well done, Nummy Num.
Yeah, I've been it's a bad thing that most of us, unfortunately, have to do.
Alan and I have done our bit.
Shout out to Lenny Harry.
Shout out to Debbie Harry, Blondie.
Good man. Parallel lines.
Yes, well, Blondie is quite the character. More significant than...
Well, she had fair skin, very pretty, blonde hair. You know, what more could you ask? A very lovely lady. I mean, there's no question.
Creepy as hell.
In 1978, yeah, but...
Have you seen her her recent videos? They're amazing. Did you see her, I can't remember the name of the song.
Coke Straw? No, I'm kidding.
What's this got to do with flat Earth?
Nothing at all.
Living
I'm
petrification.
on the flat Earth, man.
Alan, were you a punk or a...
Let's talk about Quantum Laser at the weekend. How do we think it did?
Check out Blinding Video Doom or Destiny. Their new video, Doom or Destiny. It's the New Jersey conspiracy-themed video.
Nathan, get this house in order.
Alan, start with a question about Quantum Eraser.
How do you think he did it at the weekend? With his presentation?
Yesterday?
Yes.
Same old, same old.
I didn't watch
Just
it.
another John
Boring.
scientific method study. Same old, same old.
Do you think his view of the scientific method is correct?
No.
Who said no?
I did.
Go ahead. Can you clarify on that?
He's very selective in his interpretation, based on quotations and things in a huge, much huger spectrum of things happening, and he's just being selective, and he designed his extremely rigid system with that. That's highly inflexible, mostly
Alan,
designed to disprove everything and not actually prove anything. And
Okay,
yeah,
so
it's useless.
What are you talking
Wayne
about?
thinks it's useless. What about you, Alan? Is there a flaw in his position?
Well, I think it pretty much backs up his fundamentalist Christian views.
Didn't mention Christianity once.
But it does.
No, but he uses like the pulpit just the same way a preacher would.
Yeah.
He's no different. He's preachy. It's a style.
The problem with
It's his
with
method.
Quantum
No, it's
Eraser
his
is that
method
he's
of communication. That's why, yeah.
a total egomaniac is the problem with him.
And a
Sorry.
coal miner.
Look who's talking.
I asked a simple question at the end of the show yesterday. Is mass a constant and weight a variable? What does he do? Oh, you define mass. And I wasn't ready for that because I wanted an answer to a question, not a question to answer.
Can you see what Alan
he
did to
comes
us?
out with in his quote, mass cannot be defined. I can't define it. No one can. So I say, well, it's used everywhere. Oh, la, fallacy, blah, blah, blah.
He's
Well,
also a lot.
that's not science. That's
Can
not
you
the
see-
scientific
can you
way.
see
That's
what-
not discussion. That's something else we have going there. It's coal
Can
miner.
you see what Alan did there? He tried to divide us all by concentrating on Quantum Eraser. He's a clever man.
No, but you're all divided anyway.
Well, I have a good point too. And
I have no
and
problem talking about it.
Hold
dividing,
on.
people have the right
Jimbo's
to
the only one with a
question
real
things
point.
like
Everyone
that.
else is just having fun.
I still want him to answer to the definition of mass and why in his world there is no mass. It's like there are no forests on flat Earth. John believes there is no mass on flat Earth.
Well, that's not
So
what he
F
said.
equals MA is out the window.
That's not what he
Let's
said.
start
He didn't
there,
say
John,
there was.
please.
No,
What do you mean, John?
That's a bit unreasonable. That's not what he said. He said.
Alan is sitting back with his glass of gin, laughing at us all because
Yeah, we get it. Let's just get on with it.
That's
This
not what he
is an
said.
important
He didn't
discussion.
say there is no mass. He said nobody's given him a decent definition.
It still didn't answer a simple question. It turned it around. My question was, is mass a constant? If you take a gram of gold on a plate and then add more gold to it, are you changing the density of that gold? Not at all. You're just adding mass.
But when you're talking about
Right.
formulas, the first thing you have to do is actually define the terms.
Okay, but F equals MA is used everywhere. I can't help that. I'm asking for him to say why there's no definition of mass. There is a definition of mass, and I'm not going to Wikipedia it or nothing like that. He can. There's 100 explanations, definitions for what mass is, and we use it in formulas. We use mass preferentially over weight because mass is fixed and weight varies.
Fixed.
And that's all I have
Mass
to
is
say.
fixed.
Okay, well, let me play devil's advocate, Jimbo. What is mass?
A large body of matter.
It's the number of whatever compressed or whatever in one specific volume that does not vary. Some things, like say for example,
No
gold,
mass,
lead,
no
silver,
matter. It's very simple. Mass
the
is
packing
matter.
in space of so much of a certain element or whatever, an object. How it's packed. That's its density. It doesn't change. If you have a gram of gold on the scale and you add 4 more grams, the density doesn't change, the mass does. Gases are different. So if you have a liter of hydrogen it weighs 1 gram. If you
It's a
pump
measure-
in another gram, you have 2 grams in that same space. You've doubled the density. So volumetric mass is valid across the board, including with meters of gas.
Let's gang up on our. Come on, let's just put the pressure.
It's an
on our-
observable analysis. Yes, you're correct. It doesn't mean that you can just use mass, but it is deduction based.
It's a
Absolutely. It's
Just
a
what it
unit
is.
that we created. It's another invention like electrons, like
It's
every
based on
motion and kind of
applying
conceptual thing
stable
like
force
current, electric
and-
current.
It's
We
really-
base it
By
on
stable
water in a river,
force,
although
it will
current
create
has no
pressure
real flow.
depending on the mass, and that relationship is linear. And that's
It's
how
a measure
you
of how much energy
extrapolate
it takes to move.
the mass from weight, from pressure.
The thing's mass is defined by how much energy it takes to accelerate it or move it a certain distance.
Yeah, usually, F equals ma. Usually, my opinion on stuff doesn't matter, and it don't. It's not about my opinion on the definition of mass and how to define it. The fact is, it is there. All he has to do is start quote mining again, and he'll have 100 definitions for mass. It is defined. When he says, I'm asking a question, is mass a fixed value, like gold? A gram of gold will never change. It's a gram, it'll stay a gram. Its volumetric mass will always be constant, right? Proportional. Mass, it's defined.
Right,
So
but Jimbo, the
It
problem
It
is
really is.
no, but I want to explain why John does that. That is because his system is so rigid that everything has to be proven through that rigid scientific method, and you can only, as I said, you can only deduce mass.
Okay, I agree.
And John is
but
consistent enough to say, yeah, I can't prove it, so it's
he
ridiculous
has
in a
a
practical
limited
sense.
range
But
and
that
a
is his
deflection
system.
technique. And he used his deflection technique on me. I resent that. I need him to explain why, like, he cannot define or accept at least what is applied almost universally in definition as mass and weight there. Mass is fixed. It varies. But it's also defined, the number of molecules packed into a unit volume. It's all defined, at least in that sense, and accepted. So for him to say, and to a simple question, to turn it around on me and say, define mass, it's not, it's troll behavior. It's not any way reasoned, or it's just what a troll would do. Nathan, you got to say, if I did it to you, if you asked me a question and I turned it into a question, you yell at people for that.
Well,
Why do you tolerate it from him? You do.
Well, I've given you
If
my
you
answer
ask me
already,
a
though,
question and
Jimbo.
I turn it around and ask you questions instead of answering your questions,
I can't agree.
you get upset.
When Rumpus brought up those equations while we were doing buoyancy, while we were looking at that very subject, he brought it up, and as soon as he brought up the formula, I got him to define terms immediately. What's this M? What's this G? What's this F? That's what you do. So, I mean, I feel for you, and you know, I expressed that on the show yesterday with John, and I asked you a question. I searched for your response. You know, I don't want to feel like I did you a disservice, but by the same token, I don't disagree
of mass
with defining terms.
So whatever I write in the chat don't matter. You know, there are other places, University of Berkeley, MIT, all kinds of places define mass. It's not up to me. I had a simple question. What is so simple? Is mass of an object, like lead, gold, metal, whatever, is it a fixed value?
Okay, get over it. Next question, Numi. In natural science, can you use man-made objects to derive answers?
I think so.
I
think that putting the limit of non-man-made object or man-made objects not being something that you could study as a phenomenon is completely arbitrary. There's no logical reason to impose that kind of restriction on the process. It doesn't add anything. I think you don't need to do that.
What are you talking about? We're talking about the natural world, and if you're trying to establish the cause of
the world includes everything that exists.
Yeah, the cause of things that are man-made is man-made them. That's the cause of man-made stuff.
That is one way you can define the natural world, but
Observable phenomena
is that everything that exists in the world is a natural phenomenon, because the way that term was originally brought about in the context of science was as opposed to supernatural phenomena.
Nummy, Mike, I have a question for you.
That's
then
wrong too.
Are you?
Not everything
are
is
you
a phenomena.
Hold
No,
on.
that's wrong as well. Sorry, Nummy. Not everything is a phenomena. I look at a tree, it's just a tree. It's a concrete noun. That's not a phenomena. Just because it exists in the natural world does not make it a phenomena. And if you're trying to establish the cause of something that's been made by man, the cause is man made it. That won't ever change. So you don't need to science man-made stuff. It's made by man. That's the cause. Man made it.
What made man?
So what? We're not trying to establish what made man. We're trying to, according to Globeheads, science the shit out of stuff that's made by man. And what's the cause of man-made stuff, people? Man made it. No need for science.
A tree is a phenomenon. A tree is a phenomenon. Look,
no, it's a concrete noun.
A tree is a tree. A phenomena is if a tree grows in the desert and every day it ignites and burns over with a little flame. That's a phenomena. That's but the tree itself is not a phenomena. If it catches fire and blazes over because of volatile oils, it's a phenomenon.
How about a tree just sitting there, doing what a tree does? Is that an observed phenomenon?
A tree is just a tree. It's a concrete noun. This is the problem we have with Globeheads.
Yeah, but I was more elaborate.
We see a building. We
see
a building across the way.
In a regular situation.
It's not a concrete noun. It's a concept. Tree is a concept.
Concrete noun. Tree.
Same thing. It doesn't. I don't have. Those are not mutually contradictory definitions.
Yeah, if you're looking for phenomena, it is. When we look at a
building.
Look up
phenomenon in the dictionary. What's your definition of phenomenon?
Something that's happening.
Nathan,
it's an occurrence. Something has to happen. Something actually has to happen.
So describe a situation with a tree.
Leaves falling off a tree. Leaves falling off a tree is an occurrence, a phenomena. Something that's happening. That's a
tree
phenomena.
sitting there, doing what a tree does.
Yeah.
A tree is a happening.
It's not happening. It's just a tree. It's a concrete noun.
Nathan, if you look up tree, there's no universally recognized definition.
Wow. Anyway, my point is that Globeheads look at a building.
There's no one tree that is the final definition of tree.
Correct, Nummy. Correct.
That's lovely. So let's change it to building then. We look at buildings. I'm not going to get to make my point. We look at buildings across the way, and Globeheads want that to be a phenomena. So
it's a phenomenon. Look up the definition of phenomenon. It fits neatly into the definition. Okay, so you're redefining the term phenomenon for your purposes. Fine. Good for you. Good. Go ahead with that. If you actually look up the definition of the word, it doesn't actually mean that. And fine. If you want to go, you want to pervert the definition for purposes of argumentation, you don't have to agree with it.
Nummy, I just have a real quick question. Are you comfortable then with the Cavendish experiment?
No, I don't think that the Cavendish experiment is an adequate test of gravity. I don't think you can test it in that way because you can't isolate the variables.
So your issue is not that it's a man-made contraption intending to measure whatever it might be.
I don't see why that matters. I don't think that you have to hide behind this man-made contraption versus not in order to win this debate. I mean,
I'm not trying.
Shall I define my terms of what natural opposing a natural actually is? Right, how I see it. It's not a quotation.
That restriction is for what reason do we need to impose that restriction? It's arbitrary.
Yeah. So Arwin, question for you.
Natural is in opposition to supernatural. That means metaphysical, not physical, unproven, presuppositional. And what natural is not to be found in nature. It doesn't require it not to be man-made. It must be in relation with the material world. So matter must be involved in some way. That's what it's about.
Arwin, is your Bible natural?
Anyway, so I've got phenomena.
So yeah.
Got the definition up. A fact, occurrence, or circumstance observed or observable. Synonyms: event, incident, marvel, miracle.
Synonyms aren't the definition. Here's the definition. Any state or process known through the senses rather than by intuition or reasoning.
Sorry, did you say process?
Any state or process state or process known through the senses rather than by intuition or reasoning. Something out there is a phenomenon.
So you think a tree
Phenomenon.
is a phenomenon?
An appearance. Here's another definition from
Phenomenon.
Webster. Okay, an appearance. Anything
Phenomenon.
visible, whatever, in matter or spirit, is apparent to or is apprehended by observation.
I didn't hear that. There was too much background. I was going to say it again to me.
An appearance, anything visible, whatever, in matter or spirit, is apparent to or is apprehended by observation.
Appearance? So something that appears?
Something that appears.
A tree's just there. It's a concrete noun. It's not appearing.
Matter has to be involved. You have to find the origin. Like with the rainbow, you know water droplets are involved. So that makes it provable, basically. But like the sun and the moon and all the heavenly body, we don't know how physicality is involved. We only know the angular relations to a location. That's it. So you can't. It's the matter has to be involved.
I don't understand this hang up on a concrete noun. Like, what do you mean concrete noun? A tree is not a concrete noun. It's a concept.
Right.
It's a concept that encompasses many.
My point,
how do you know what's the original definition of tree?
I tried 3 times to make my point. So a concrete noun, something that's just there, not something that's occurring or happening. Well, that's what we have when we discuss.
That's just there is occurring.
I get 3 sentences, Nami. Jesus wept. So can I give you? I'm not going to get it. I've tried 4 times. So when the globe heads look at something that we just see and is just there, no occurrence, no happening, no phenomena, just a building that we see. But they need it to be a phenomena so they can explain it with science. We don't need to explain a building we just see. It's just a building that we see. Concrete noun.
All right, well, that doesn't make sense to me, and you're not going by the...
It doesn't matter, Nathan, because they are still using presuppositions. That is their pitfall. Doesn't matter how they approach it. That's all semantics, basically.
But here's the thing.
It's about the presupposition. That's what they're doing wrong. That's what we should be emphasizing.
Anything that can be experienced or felt.
Well,
that's a
okay.
phenomenon.
If I go to Cambridge Dictionary, something that exists and can be seen, felt, tested, especially something that is unusual or interesting. And then underneath it says gravity is a natural phenomena. So must be trusted then, right?
The example isn't the definition. You're not going with this definition. It's anything that can be experienced or felt. That's a phenomenon. I'm just saying, like, you don't have to go to such great lengths in order to try to, like, the argument's very solid. You don't have to nitpick and like do surgery on the definitions of words in order to hold up the position. You can just relax about it. It's fine. The earth is definitely, obviously, and observably flat. And you don't have to, like, defend these extreme idiosyncratic definitions of words in order to maintain that, to make that argument.
Good man.
Listen, phenomenon, a fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen. A remarkable person or thing. The object of a person's perception. There's a lot of definitions for it. It's like this definition that you're using, it's not correct. Sorry. And it doesn't need to be. As what I'm saying is you don't have to do that. You don't have to play those kind of word games in order to have the argument.
It's an unnecessarily narrow interpretation.
Yeah, it's like the same with natural world. It's like there's one definition among many in the dictionary that defines natural the way that you're saying it. But there's a whole bunch of other definitions that define it differently. So to fixate on that one definition and say that's the real definition and all the other ones are, well, what about the other definitions? I mean, you're using the dictionary as this authority for this one definition, but that same authority has all these other definitions. And the meanings of words are not prescribed in that way. That's not how it works. Language is much more complex than that.
Yeah,
language is much more complex.
Hang on. Go on, Richard.
I'm glad I'm here. Language is much more complex. It's a very interesting thing that a lot of flat earthers, and I don't know which, particular tribe you are, but
not in a tribe. Just a person.
tribe of there are a variety of different flat earthers.
We're all individual. We're all unique individuals.
Well,
We're
but
all
you-
individuals. Yes, we are. Come on,
I'm
challenge
not.
want to
guys.
interrupt you, that's fine. You ascribe to different things, right? There are some that ascribe to the fact that a literal translation, for example, of the Bible.
There's different flavors, Richard.
Yes, no, I know, and that's what I'm trying to clarify right here.
Okay. What's your position?
Which group are you in? Because a literal translation of the Bible, no matter who you are at this point, no one in this group, no one who is online right now has ever read the Bible in the original language.
Well, I'm not interested in the Bible as a source of knowledge.
Oh, I am. Because that's why a lot of people have ascribed to this silliness.
Well, if you're alluding to the Pentateuch or the Torah or the Asar Devarim, which is considered the Old Testament Bible,
none of those.
Oh, okay. What do you consider the Bible?
Richard, just give us your opinion.
My opinion is that there's a lot of literal translation of a 4 times translated book in saying that there is a dome and a firmament. And that's not a proof of anything.
I know. It's just a reference.
That's why we have P900s we're talking about. Now P1000s and IR filters. That's not biblical.
P900 is a crappy camera.
Anyway,
Sorry.
they're tools that are being used to be 20 miles and more. Sorry about that. But however good or bad they are is not the question.
Are you
But
calling a
they
P1000 crappy camera?
So it's not biblical. We were talking about the P900, not a religion.
Do you know anything about the zoom range of that camera?
Richard, what do you observe and what's your opinion?
Stop changing the subject. Let him finish the question.
It was in the Bible, the P900, and it said, when thy zoometh on far away things, they appear closer. You know,
Well, I've read the Bible. I
Iconicus, like 12, 14.
Right. So I think that there definitely have been people among flat earthers that I know that have definitely looked into the old scripts. I think Paula, Knowledge Scavenger, may have been one of those. She's like a fanatical scripture studying person. She does hangouts about
fanatical, but yes, Paula has definitely studied the ancient Hebrew. Correct.
And there's other people I know that, what's his name again? Was always talking about the trees and the elves and everything. What's his name again?
That's you. That's you.
No, people talk about me when they talk about elves, but
I wouldn't laugh about elves and stuff.
Oh yeah,
until
Jay Dreamers.
You know, it's like
Jay
anything
Dreamers.
in this world. I don't knock it till, you know.
Come on, I'm almost done. Come on. Jay Dreamers, he also knows Hebrew. He even does some hangouts about it, interpreting language and the Bible, and it's very interesting. And so he definitely has read it, although his opinions, in my opinion, are kind of out there. He speculates a lot. He doesn't really care about science, but yeah, he does know Hebrew, definitely. So he's a person that has probably read the original Bible. And
but Arwin, with regards to language, does language and meaning not change over time with different cultures?
No, not ancient languages, only the translated ones.
Yeah, Dave Murphy too.
Right. So
look,
yeah,
even Hebrew
definitely
has modern
individuals
Hebrew
that
and
have read
ancient
the
Hebrew. They
original thing.
incorporate
Yes.
new terms because they have to. Every language.
Well, languages don't translate perfectly into each other, right? Like,
Absolutely. Or spiritually, the intent, you know, there's letter and intent, you know. Look, if you don't know what a machine is and you're out of the, you know, say a tribe in a jungle, for example, and you see an airplane and you've never seen or anyone in the tribe an airplane before, now you've got to record it. They fly away and that's all the information you have. They came, they left. Now you're describing your airplane. well, you know birds, you know all kinds of stuff. You might use birds and other things that you know in nature to describe this mechanical device that you saw. So, you know,
Except you wouldn't.
you can't depend on it.
Yeah, there's a there's an aspect of transliteration as well, just like poetic or stylistic choices made by the translators. That's why translating is an art.
It also language, when translating into other languages, there's like compacting and unfolding of meanings, because certain languages have just a more limited range of expression in a certain field than other languages. So there's like compacting, that it's almost like when rendering an image, you know, things are lost in the compacting process, so quality is lost. And similar goes for translating languages, because of the expression range differences within the languages. So information is lost when translated.
Indeed. And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you hated the show, you know exactly what to do. But if you liked it, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Unusual.
No, they translate English to English and French to French in Quebec. So.
Just simplified explanations.
Well, even when we talk to each other, we're translating English to English, right? Because people have different networks of associations, or people misunderstand. You know, people have different understandings of definitions of words, or they're using a different
regional interpretations. Regional interpretations.
Like
then you have the broken telephone wire. Like if I said I am an orphan boy, if someone misunderstood it through communications as an often boy, that means I'm frequently somewhere. Maybe, you know, I'm often there, but I'm an orphan. I have no parents. So which is it?
Yeah, and if
orphan or often.
And if you look into the history or etymology of words, there's words that have come about from those kinds of mistakes that have ended up in the dictionary, that have ended up gaining status.
That's how folk language is born.
They're common mistakes that people that caught on in a population.